Hello, you gorgeous lot. How you doing? I'm Jackie. I'm on Mounjaro. I've lost about 6.5 stone and I'm currently at about 10 months. Okay, in this video, I'm just going to give you my update because it's been a while. I have been concentrating on providing value with topic videos, hot topics, and I thought, no, it's time for an update. I'm just about to go on my jollies, and you know how that can change your diet and your food. So I thought I need a little bit of reminder of where I'm up to. Sometimes we need to just stop and pause and just have a bit of gratitude and recognise how far we've come. I have been on this since September last year. I was so impressed with Mounjaro. I thought, everybody needs to know about this because for the first time ever, I was able to finally lose weight. I was just before I was 60. I was post-menopause. I had some illnesses going on. The usual crap you get when you're over reaching 60. I have since turned 60 in March. But I thought, everybody needs to know about this. Why has nobody told me about this? And I did spot a lot of American channels. I know there are more UK ones now. But they didn't feel like there was anybody that I could relate to. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to throw it out there. And every week I've been posting a video. I've got them on a website. I've got them on this channel. Go and have a nosy. If you're just thinking about Mounjaro, just starting out, or if you're already in the middle of it, it's full of tips and because I spill it all. Anyway, recently I had an operation at Christmas, and then quite recently, I'm going back about 3 months now. Is that recent? I'm not sure. I had norovirus. I went and had it checked out, so I knew it was norovirus and not Mounjaro because the symptoms can be very, very similar. And I had that for about 3-4 weeks, and then I came off Mounjaro during that period. I'd slowly microdosed up, and I've got videos on that on microdosing and how to do it. I wasn't one of these that jumped up with every month. That's not how I did my journey at all because I was so worried about the side effects. So I very, very slowly went up on my doses, and I'd gone from 2.5 to 5 over literally about 6-7 months. And then I'd had one 7.5. And then I started with norovirus. Like I say, at first I did think it was Mounjaro related because when you go up and titrate up that big jump, it can give you all similar symptoms. It's like an inflammation in the gut, exactly the same as the norovirus. So I was in a situation where I thought, it must be Mounjaro. Got tested. It wasn't. It was the norovirus. So I came off Mounjaro at that point. I was very poorly. I was panicking, and it's not way to live. You've got to work. And I was about 3.5 weeks in, 4 weeks in, and I thought, okay, I'm getting better. I'm well. I'm going to get back on. But I didn't want to jump into the place I was because I was so nervous about those side effects hitting me because my body had about a month off Mounjaro. So I went back on with 2.5 milligrams. I started right at the beginning. And what I did is I went on that for a couple of weeks. Food noise was still there. I wasn't eating as much as I would have done before Mounjaro, but yes, I still had me chocolate. There was still that noise going on, but I wasn't eating anywhere near the amounts that I was eating before. Like I say, I was also kind of nervous. So I spent a couple of weeks on 2.5, and then what I started doing, I just started going up by 10 clicks every time I had an injection because I had a higher dose pen. More about that in another video. It gets very complicated. So I literally was on 2.5, then I went up 10 clicks, then another 10 clicks the next week, then another 10 clicks the next week, until I got to 5. And it was only until I hit 5, the food noise suppression, that disappeared again. The suppression came back. So I started then feeling that old... I did miss it, that feeling of not thinking about food again. That was there before, and then when I got to 5, it kind of, started going. And it was very frustrating because there was many a times I thought, let's just jump up. I was getting impatient. My weight at this point was fluctuating 1, 2, 3 pounds either way. So I'd keep an eye on it, and if I started going up a couple of pounds, I'd then start being really careful and coming down again. So basically, I class that is that I just stalled, I maintained, And it was only till I hit 5 that I started feeling that food suppression. But then it still took a couple of weeks for my weight to start sort of coming down, because as soon as I got on 5 for 1 week, on the next week I went up by another 10 clicks, and the week after another 10 clicks, and now I'm currently, I think for 2 weeks now, I've been on 7.5, and I feel a lot more comfortable with doing it, just titrating up with that extra 10 clicks, because I don't think my body can handle it. And I think that's the important part here. You have to know your own body, get to know it, and once you're on Mounjaro for a while, you start understanding how your body rocks and how, you know, it is affected with the big jumps. Some people can handle it no problem at all. I couldn't. So I'm now in a situation where, as of 2 weeks ago, I started losing again, and as of today, and I think I'm close to the 10-month mark, I'm now 6.5 stone down. If you're in the US, you'll have to go and work out the kilograms. I haven't got a clue. So 6.5 stone down. Now, a lot's happened on this journey, but what has happened, only I think it's less than a month ago, I had a bit of a brainwave. Because I've always been one of these. Once I've started doing these weekly videos, I've always made a promise to myself that I will answer every single comment and question that comes in the chat under these videos, and I have. But if you start posting every week and it's something people are interested in, and Mounjaro's quite big at the moment, my channel started getting a little bit busy, and it meant those comments were coming in thick and fast. And up until about, I can't remember, it was probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago now, I started having some moments of I can't do this anymore on my own, because I was still trying to fulfill that promise of replying to every single comment. But it's not just that comment, you also then have the replies to those comments as well, and you end up meeting yourself backwards. But I was determined that you know, the whole point was to let people know about it and then tell them about my journey. I'm not a medical professional at all, but it was just people were asking me very simple questions that somebody who's experienced it would know some of the answers to. But obviously it's always based on my journey, my body. And I could you know, I was always happy to say, well, this worked for me, might not work for you. So then I also thought, random people that are just on the same journey, and it's really difficult to find answers to those questions when you're on Mounjaro, unless you go into your provider. But there's some things that your provider are not really going to be interested in. I can't think of an example at the moment, but it got to a place where people just wanted to have a chat with me and sort of said, what do you think about this? And what do you think? I did one last night, and she was telling me what her calories were and what she was eating and how often. And between us, I mean, I was only giving her my perspective, and she was always aware of that. I just said to her, well, instead of just having your shake in the morning then an evening meal, why not spread your calories out over the day so that your body doesn't sort of think you're not going to eat anything, so your metabolic rate slows right down. So if you eat every couple of hours just something small and keep the calories low as you are, then surely your metabolic rate is going to speed up a bit, and potentially you could have the weight. These are just suggestions. Like I say, I'm not medical, and she had been to her medical practitioner and a doctor and everything, and they were pretty useless. Unless you can afford to pay like these big bucks to have a dietitian on your doorstep or on the phone, or it's really hard, because you do have lots of questions. And that was the problem with the YouTube comments. There were just too many questions, but a lot of them were the same. It was the same questions, the same inquiries, the same struggles. So 5 weeks ago I had a bit of a light bulb moment, and I thought, it didn't feel right as well, because some of the questions were getting a little bit personal, too personal for my liking, for YouTube. YouTube is a very public platform, and anyone can see those comments. So that I was starting to feel really uncomfortable about, because there's only so much you can talk about in those comments without sort of going into that confidentiality stuff and the private stuff. So 5 weeks ago I had a brainwave. I need a space. I need somewhere private that wasn't just a one-to-one. I'm only one person in all this. There are thousands of people now on Mounjaro, and I am no expert. I just happen to have lost a load of weight. So I've only got my perspective to go off. I can't give you anybody else's perspective because that's theirs. And we're all so different and unique. Our journeys are very, very different. So I created a little community. It's private, it's safe. You have to be authorised by moi, and there's another person on board with this that's helping me along. And I decide what can and can't get discussed in the group. So there's nothing medical allowed. We're not allowed to advise people, oh, you must go twice a week instead of once a week. You must titrate up to this and you must do that. We're not. I don't allow any of that because I'm dead against anything like that. We're not an expert. We're not medically trained. None of us are doctors. But it has created a wonderful space. It's absolutely amazing. This thing has just blown me away. It's created this wonderful, safe space where I'm currently at 250 members. I think I'm about 3 weeks old for the community. I opened it up and within hours I was getting all these pings of people requesting to join, and I didn't even advertise it. Then when I did start advertising it on my YouTube channels, on my website, on my newsletter, they're just flowing in, and it's absolutely lovely because what's happened, it's kind of blown up to an extent I didn't expect. No longer, and this was the whole point, no longer is somebody relying on me for answers, because I am not the all-answer Jackie. I'm no expert. I'm just one person that's on Mounjaro. Now, somebody will go into our community and they'll ask a question. Because say we don't give medical advice at all, but they'll ask something like, can somebody give me some tips on protein? I'm really struggling. And then they get bombarded with 20, 30, 40, 50 comments from other members in the group. How cool is that? Because Mounjaro, it's still got a lot of secrecy around it. It still feels like, I mean, I know of a lot of people in my community now that don't tell a soul. They've not told their partners, they've not told the family, they've not told the kids. I've not told my grandchildren. There's a lot of people that are keeping it quiet because of that stigma attached. We're injecting ourselves. And is it a healthy way to reduce your weight? Maybe. I've got a 15-year-old granddaughter, and it's like, you know, my daughter wasn't happy about me talking about it because she didn't see it as a healthy way of losing weight. The idea is now that obesity is seen as a disease, just like you've got your diabetes and your high cholesterol and all the rest of it. We're not going to go there. That's a different video. We'll save that for another video. But what it has created is this wonderful space where it's not just Jackie's voice anymore. And I know I've had a lot of comments from many, many, many people before I set this community up saying, I'm so glad I found you. You're so relatable. You keep it real. There's no fluff about you. You just say it how it is. And I am so open as well and honest about my journey. And I've had some serious ups and downs as well. It's not all bed of roses. Trust me, it's not. You'd have to go back on the videos to see that. But this journey has led me to this private community that I've set up. It's on school. And what has blown me away more than anything is I didn't quite realise just how many people are over 60 on Mounjaro. I know there's plenty of others that aren't, okay? But let's just focus. I reached 60 this year. I never realised, because people don't share their age generally in the comments at YouTube. We've now come over onto the school community and people are a lot more open. They're very happy because they know it's a trusted and safe place. There's no judgment there. There's no spying eyes. There's nobody sort of in there reporting back anywhere or passing judgment calls. It's not allowed. It's like, you're out, mate. But I didn't realise just how many people over 60, I mean, there's plenty at the 50s and the 40s, but mostly over 60s and even in their 70s that took a chance, and because they needed just that safe place to go where there's lots of other people like them, that they can get in this. It's like being in a party and everybody's talking about the same thing. There was one lady that said to me, I think she was in her mid-70s, and she said, how she got on school, I'll never know, because I said to her about messaging, send me a DM, and she says, how do you send a DM? said, it's similar to WhatsApp. She says, I haven't got WhatsApp. I says, how old's your phone? And she says, about 10 years old. Yet she found her way onto the school platform. This is just blown me away. And I constantly, every single day, you only have to go over there and have a look, constantly get told how grateful people are and how it's just made their journey so much easier being on this school platform. So what is school? School is just a piece of software. It's a little bit like Facebook, where you have a centralized community. We have categories. So if you come in and you've got a question like, let's use the protein one. Has anybody got to Aldi's and know what to use for protein? What's a good buy in Aldi's? You put it in the question category, and then people will answer you. So if you come in and you're brand new, you go to the question category. If you've got a question like a protein one, you go in there and you check down till you find the protein ones, and they'll all be there. People will have asked the same question, possibly previously, and then you've got all the answers there. That's unusual, because I don't know if you're like me, but I know many people have done this, because lots of people have told me this, is that the information for Mounjaro is scattered everywhere. And it's not just that, you've also got people have different intentions when they're giving you information. They're either trying to sell you something, or they're trying to benefit somehow. They're either trying to get the views, so they make everything, very dramatic. I know I'm guilty of that one with the thumbnails. We can't get you in to watch it, haven't we? But with the realness, there's no sort of, it's just the whole persona of what it represents, Mounjaro, and people have jumped on the bandwagon and realised that there's some money to be made there. So you've got to be careful, because I'm very suspicious. So when I go on YouTube or I go on a website, I'm like thinking, yeah, they're trying to rope you in to do this course and get this and get that and pay this and pay that. And I'm like, no. That's not for me, because I know all the information is out there. It just takes some serious digging, some serious research. But not everybody has got the time, the knowledge. If it's anything like my mum, she's got a real technophobe, so she doesn't like any of that stuff. She doesn't trust any of that stuff. Where it seems people, because of my weekly videos, people have trusted me enough when I've said, oh, I've got this thing going on over at school. They've literally jumped over, even the 70-year-olds who haven't got a clue how to use, don't even have WhatsApp, they don't know how, never heard of school. And all of a sudden they're trusting me enough to go on there, and all it takes is your email address. You literally just put your email address on, you get an email. It doesn't cost you anything, it's all free. The community is completely free. And the idea is that everybody comes together in one place. And I can step back a little bit, because that was one of the problems I had. There wasn't enough hours in the day for me to attend to everybody's questions. And then it's more important that it's not just my perspective, because I'm just one very small person in many people that are on Mounjaro. So why not have a lovely, safe community? And I think it's the first of its kind over on school as well, that is just community based at the moment. There is going to be some extra bits coming, and the purpose is just to go and hang out with people like you for your struggles, your questions, share your updates, share your wobbles, share your wins. It's literally, there's everything in there. But what I've started doing as well, I mean, because I'm able to step back a little bit now, I asked for some volunteers for moderators. I call them guardians, and it's called the Mounjarian Tribe, by the way. If you want to go and have a look, there'll be a link down below in this video. Click on the link, it takes you to my about page, just gives you a little brief summary of what's in there, and then there's a join bit at the side or underneath, depends if you're on your phone. Just click on that, it'll ask you for your email, ask you a couple of questions on entering. Say we are quite picky, so we try and avoid the spammers. No URLs are shared in this group at all. You're not allowed to share Facebook pages, you're not allowed to share YouTube videos, you're not allowed to any products at all, so you're not going to get spam. This is the whole point. Let's make it nice and safe for us oldies. There is some young ones on there, but not many. It seems us oldies are the ones that have created these bad eating habits for all these years, and we're the ones that need most help. But it means the flavour of the group is nice and respectful. They are so supportive, honestly. Somebody only has to go on there and say, I'm having a rough day, and everybody's commenting, honestly, and helping them out and giving them support. So finally, we have a place to go. It's very similar, I suppose, but on a much bigger scale to your Slimming World class. Do you remember those? I never used to say a word to anybody in those classes. I used to go with a friend, and if I went on my own, I never spoke a word to anybody. I never shared my journey. I never shared my tips. It was all just listening to everybody, somebody rattling off all the losses this week, and then she might give a little talk at the end about some new diet book that's come out for Slimming World. But I never shared any of my insights. This is different. This is a safe place where you can just share your wobbles. I mean, we had somebody the other day that said something about they've just plucked up the courage to tell some family members. There was one person who had stopped because they couldn't afford, we're paying for Mounjaro. They stopped going into the local coffee shop, and they'd not been in for months and months and months. People said, oh, just go and have a glass of water and just say hi. And it was so lovely to see the post afterwards when they came back. They were beaming, and they said, oh my God, I went in, everybody was giving me hugs, and they says, where have you been? And it just took that little nudge from somebody in the community, well, it was more than one person, to say, go on, go, you'll be fine, you know, we've got your back. And they came back and shared the whole outcome, and it was just so lovely. And I'm just about to go on my jollies very soon. I had a bit of an episode yesterday, came out the blue. If you have been following my channel, you will possibly be aware that before Christmas, right before Christmas, it was about 4 days before I was going in to have half my thyroid out, I ended up in A&E, and unbeknown to me, I had gallbladder issues, a gallbladder attack. I'd never experienced that in my life, and never have I experienced that pain before. I've since been A&E 3 times since with a gallbladder attack. I've had tests done at the hospital. Unbeknown to me, about 8 months before I started Mounjaro, I'd had a scan somewhere around my gallbladder and all the rest of it. I didn't know about this till my doctor told me, and it was seen that I had gallstones in my gallbladder. Now, there is a scaremongering thing to do with Mounjaro. Mounjaro itself doesn't create gallbladder problems or gallstones. Your rapid weight loss does, and the lack of certain foods like fats. So what happened with me, you think I'd learnt my lesson, but it just sneaked up and bit me in the arse. 3 times I have been on a very low fat diet. Obviously, I'm trying to, because my calories are a lot lower, I have been trying to keep those calories nutrient rich. So I'm not eating carbs. I've tried to take out the snacks, the fatty stuff. I learned very quickly, like day 1, not to eat fried stuff. That could have been a gallstone, who knows, yeah. But what's happened is I've tried to stay away from those things. When you're on a low-calorie diet and you're having a rapid weight loss, your organs, your gallbladder and your pancreas and the bile and all the rest of it all works differently. So it's not the Mounjaro, it's the effect of Mounjaro that will possibly create the gallbladder attack. So I had the first time I just had a little tiny, I'm talking about the tiniest piece of lamb, it was only small, but obviously lamb's quite fatty. Well, within 4 hours, I thought I was giving birth to, a 28-pound baby. Honestly, it was horrendous. Worse than child pains, labour pains. But it actually vanished just before the ambulance turned up. But the second time, I was told after that, go straight in, because there is a worry you could have an infection in your gallbladder or your pancreas. Something could shift over, you end up with pancreatitis, which can be lethal. So, and your heart rate as well. So I kind of learned as the times have gone on. Like I said, I've had it 3 times. And then the second time was just some salmon, and it just came on again. Pain was, it's like where your body goes into a bit of a shock because the pain is so intense. I started with the tremors, the sweat was pouring from me, and I was this close a couple of times. I spoke to my daughter who only lived around the corner, and I spoke to her a couple of times saying, just be on red alert, I might need you to take me up to A&E if this gets much worse. And of course, what do you try and do when you're in pain? You try and sleep. And I did try that a couple of times. It wasn't having any of it. I was up and down, up and down. Oh, it's the worst pain. And you feel so alone. And this is what, I mean, I'm not comparing Mounjaro side effects to gallbladder, gallstones at all. The pain's so different. But this is where I think your head goes when you're on Mounjaro and you end up with these relentless side effects. You feel so alone with it. So what did I do? I actually got on my community and I said, help guys, does anybody know anything, any magic tricks for gallbladder attack and blah, blah, blah. Nobody had anything and I wasn't expecting anything. But you know what? It was just lovely for people to comment back and just say, oh, Jackie, I'm so sorry you're going through this and da-da-da-da. A few people advised me to go to A&E. The thing is, I'm going away next Wednesday. Let me just backtrack a little bit. I'm actually due to have my gallbladder out. The third time I went in, the consultant said to me, you either have to spend the rest of your life not eating any fat, but it sounds like you've got a rogue gallbladder that's just going to spurt out these gallstones as and when it feels like it. So that might not make any difference and you're going to just have to live with these attacks. And I'm like, not a chance. Or we remove your gallbladder. And without thinking about it, I just said, get it out, need to get it out. So, right, we'll put you on the list. So they started the process, and it was only a couple of weeks ago I had to fill out my pre-op questionnaire that they send you, and it can be a couple of months after you filled it out because they like to get ready, don't they? So, yeah, yesterday I was determined not to go to A&E. I was crapping myself because I thought, do you know what, I'm going to go in and they're going to say, okay, you've had too many of these. And I was probably, I'd probably be in a blubbering wreck because the pain was so bad. You just can't cope with it. It's that painful. I mean, I tried, sort of going to a different place and, with meditation, all the rest of it. None of it worked. And I knew that if I went in yesterday, the chances are they could have said, right, let's get you in and get that gallbladder out. And I wouldn't have wanted that because I am due to see my elderly mum next Wednesday. She's 89 and there's been a couple of times since I saw her back in August that I really didn't think she would survive this long, because she's had a couple of moments where she's just nearly given up because she's got her ailments, and at 89 you're going to have your problems, aren't you? And she's had one or two really big issues, and I thought, oh, she's not going to survive, we're going to have to fly over there. And we booked this holiday way back, and there was times I thought she's not going to live that long. And I thought, I am not giving that chance up to go and see my mum, potentially for the last time, for the sake of a gallbladder. I'm just not doing it. I can't. I just can't. I've got to get my priorities right. So I was determined yesterday and I fought like a trooper, and eventually I think I nodded off, and I think the painkillers kicked in about the same time. And when I woke up, it was still there, but it was nowhere near as bad as it was. Anybody who's been through these, that you will understand what I'm talking about. So I think I got off quite lightly. I've had the day off today, but I have got the most horrendous lower back pain at the moment, but that's just me and my joints. I've got ankylosing spondylitis and a few other issues, and it's just my fucking back's killing me because I think I, did something to it yesterday when I was curled up in that really tight ball for hours and hours. I'm in a situation now, I'm waiting for a gallbladder removal. I know some people are dead against it, but I cannot cope with that pain, and I'd rather suffer the consequences and, have some issues afterwards. But you can't live your life like that, can you? Just like we can't live our lives fat. So again, I'm going to come back to it. If you are thinking about Mounjaro, yes, I sound like a right horror story, but you know what? I can wrap a towel around me completely now. I can tie my shoelaces without needing some oxygen or having to hold my breath for the whole duration of tying a shoelace, and I've got to be quick. I know I'm going to get on an aeroplane and I'm not going to be sweating and panicking because I'm thinking I'm going to have to ask for an extension. I am wearing clothes that I can't find any clothes that I like because I keep buying extra large sizes and I'm too big for them. I was in a pair of dungarees the other day and my son-in-law said, Jackie, where's your arse gone? I have people coming up to me saying, oh, you are looking skinny in the face. Yeah, I've got a little bit of skin going on here, but the benefits so far outweigh anything that I've gone through. Oh, 100-fold. I can go up the stairs now not worried about having to, panicking and wheezing. I can bend over now. I can sort of go down and pick something up off the floor. I couldn't do any of that before. Going through my patio door, if it only opens one side, I had to go through sideways. I realised the other day I don't have to go through sideways anymore. These things matter. They really do count. And this is just a tip of my little iceberg. I recently did a post in the school and I said to people, what's your wins? And I will share a video on this because these things are just gold. You have to sort of understand it. Somebody's saying that, they're getting in a pair of jeans or they're doing this or they're doing that. I will share them all because I'd like you to be part of that and see why people get on Mounjaro, because we are surrounded by horror stories like mine. They do happen, but I came with those gallstones to start with, don't forget. And a lot of people, when they have these horror stories, they're either not using Mounjaro as they should, they're not eating as they should, they're coming with issues prior to Mounjaro, or they're losing weight too quickly, or not drinking enough, or there's millions and millions and millions of scenarios. For majority of people, Mounjaro works. Yes, there is some side effects elements to it, but there is a way of managing that, and that's why one of my very first ebooks out, and it's free, over on my website or on the Stand store, all the links are down below, is 5 things I wish I knew before I started Mounjaro. And I was determined to get that out, because if somebody told me that before I started on Mounjaro, I may not have suffered as much as I did. So I want to give you guys the heads up. I'm stuck now because I've had that gallbladder attack yesterday. I don't feel like eating, but I know I have to. This is a very, very common dilemma on Mounjaro without gallbladder issues. There are days you just don't want to eat and you have to sit there scratching your head thinking, what can I eat? What can I eat? And I know I'm going to have to eat, so I'm going to have a protein shake. I don't even fancy scrambled egg at the minute. It's like, what? But I'm also very aware of, I don't want to trigger anything else off either. If anybody's got any advice for gallbladder, what do you not eat? Well, I know exactly what I shouldn't be eating. I can't have avocados, I can't have smoked salmon, I can't have oily fish, I can't have oily lamb. I can't have butter on my toast. I don't eat bread anymore. I've stopped eating bread. But I still have probably a stone, maybe 2 to lose. I am determined, because now I've jumped on this roller coaster. Yes, it is a bit of a roller coaster. I am determined to stay on it now until I have finished. I'm not going to listen to the BMI. I'm not going to listen to what somebody else is going to tell me what's good for me. I will judge that based on how I feel in myself. This video, give us a subscribe. I can't talk now. Need a drink. And if you want to follow me, feel free to follow me on YouTube with a thumbs up, a like and a subscribe. But if you really are on a journey, I don't want anybody to feel alone on this journey, because up until a couple of weeks ago, I think I did, even though I used to use my videos as a bit of a sounding board, as if I was talking to friends. But now we truly have a little community. It's free, completely free, no charges. It doesn't ask for your bank details or credit card or anything like that. And if you're a technophobe like me, 89-year-old mother, you are just going into the link down below, put your email in, it sends you an email, you just click on that and boom, you're in. Then you go in there and there's a nice little introduction post there. It tells you, I'll send you a letter, and it tells you what to do and how to go about it. And then there's a post in the community that says, come and introduce yourself. And there's a little intro from me in there. And then you just put your little intro. Hi, I'm new and I'm here and I've done this and I've lost this, or I've just started. Or even if you're thinking about Mounjaro, it's a dead handy place to go, because there's a lot. I know I sort of procrastinated for a long time over Mounjaro because I was pooing my pants over that injection. And I was still trying to gather all the information and questions and research and everything. It's all there now in the school. There is some templates, there's some research stuff in there as well. There's all kinds. Go and have a look. You'll enjoy it. you're more than welcome. And I'm often in there as well. And yeah, we're going to be doing a live probably before my holidays. And I'm waffling now, aren't I? I hope you're all having a good week. You're nearly at the weekend. And I will catch you all soon. You take care. Bye.